And at what point did you guys know? I guess when you're at Mar-a-Lago, everybody's seen the pictures. President sitting there, Dana White, Elon Musk. Elon's got his kid on his shoulder. You know, we had a couple people telling us, here's what the energy is like in Mar-a-Lago. Well, at what point did you know we're winning this thing?
I think, look, we knew we had won North Carolina. We were waiting for Georgia, and we knew any minute they were going to have to call Georgia. And, you know, we have all of our people on the ground in these places giving us their feedback. Pennsylvania looked really good. And it really seemed like from everything we were hearing across the country, things were all going to trend our way. And I think it was probably around, like 12:30 in the morning or something, that we realized we probably should make our way to the convention center because there was a speech that was going to be made at some point. But it was a little bit different than 2016. 2016, I feel like every state that came in, even states like Mississippi that you know we're going to win, we're like, yeah, no, it's always good. But this time, you know, there were the 7 states that, I mean, we killed ourselves and time and time again, no one more so than my father-in-law. But it's amazing. You know, it is so much sweeter in 2024 than it ever could have been in 2020. And I actually think it's so much better overall for him. And I think it'll be better for the country. You know, I'm sure people have talked about this already, but in 2020, had he won, there was obviously so much against him, but he also would not have had a House and a Senate, right? The Democrats were in control of that. We obviously have a majority now in the Senate. We will. And the House feels pretty good. Looks like it's going to trend our way. Fingers crossed. But, you know, having gone through everything he has over the past 4 years, seeing how bad things have gotten in this country, I think has awakened a lot of people. And I don't think once you're awake, you're going to go back to sleep. I think it's why we saw people come out and vote in the numbers they did for Donald Trump in these voting blocks that have traditionally always gone Democrat. I think that it is so much better now for America and for the future of this country that Donald Trump won in 2024. I mean, all I can say is it's absolutely incredible.
I got a question for you. So we're there. We start at 7. We end at 3:30, whatever the time was. And I'm watching. We're all betting after they announced Pennsylvania, after they announced Georgia, after all this stuff that's going on. You know, Donald Trump's headed towards, the convention center. Then you see the picture I think your husband posted. It's him reading the speech, right? Those papers and that big picture, which was great. So then everybody's saying, when do you think he's going to come up and speak, and how long is the speech going to be? So we're making a wager with everybody that's watching. Will it be less than 5 minutes? No. Will it be less than 10 minutes? No. Will it be less than 20 minutes? No. Will it be 30 minutes? No. Everyone's like, it's going to be over an hour, right? So he comes up at 2:26. At this point, I'm watching him on stage. He's 78 years old. He's been running and gunning, and he's up there like having fun, telling jokes. Hey, JD, why don't you say a couple words? Hey, Dana, why don't you come up here? Got to give congratulations.
Where's Bryson DeChambeau? Somebody get Bryson up here. Yeah.
So, I mean, when you and he went 26 minutes. When you're around him, and so he's your father-in-law, but he's also somebody you're helping become president. And you're married to his son, but you're also somebody that's playing a role. So, and you're playing a very important job. You don't have a light. It's not like, hey, I'm a supportive spouse. That's not you. You have your own identity that you're doing what you're doing. When you're watching this guy from all those different lenses, how do you view him when you think about Donald Trump?
Gosh, I've known him for 16 years. Actually, my 10-year wedding anniversary is tomorrow. And thank you. If you remember, that was election day in 2016, November 8th. Mm-hmm. So it was our 2-year wedding anniversary for me and Eric. I've known him for so long. I've seen him go through so much. It's hard for me to see him as anything other than my father-in-law because that's how I've known him for so long. But I have such respect for this man. You know, I've seen him go through the toughest things imaginable that I can't believe he's actually endured and still stood up and kept fighting and never wavered for a single second. But it's, you know, this man, I believe, and I said this last night with Sean Hannity, I really believe when history looks back on Donald Trump, he will be one of the greatest leaders this world has ever seen. And, you know, the reason that I think it was important for him to win in 24 instead of 20 is because now that these people are starting to realize, look, the mainstream media lies constantly. All those people you're just talking about in the intro here, all the folks who are out there melting down, the Sunnies, the whoever it is out there, Rachel Maddow, people saying they're going to put you in camps. I mean, this stuff is so outrageous. And people are starting to see like, hey, they've lied to us about this man for so long. And all he ever wanted was to do what's right for America and to save this country, really. And he does it because he loves this country. And, I just think that I'm so honored to be by his side for all of these things. And there was that moment, I took a picture of him too when he was reading that speech backstage, the picture Eric took, because it's just, he deserves this more than anyone. He worked so hard for it. He fought against everything they threw his way. And I could not be prouder to be part of his team for this.
Why do you guys work so hard for him? Why does the entire family work so hard for him?
Well, I think we know what his ultimate goal is. And I can tell you, look, you go back and there was an Oprah interview in the 80s and she asked him, would you ever run for president? And he said, only if I felt like my country needed me. Only if I felt like things got so bad I had no other choice. I think he did it in 2016 because he knew the country needed him. And I've seen him, look at what he did his first term in office. He had constant incoming, people constantly fighting against him, the left, the media, everybody. And he actually did so many great things for America. Don't forget, he never took a salary while he was in the White House. He donated it. The only president to go into the White House, come out of the White House with less money than he went into the White House with. He's lost zeros off the back of his net worth because he loves America. And I know he knows that his charge is to save this country. And I believe turn it around. And I think whenever you're working for something that's bigger than yourself, it's very easy to keep going, to hustle, to do whatever it is you need to do. And I know him. I know his heart. I know why he's doing this. And for me, it makes it very easy to work very hard.
What's the first thing he said to you when he met you? First time Eric brought, to him and introduced you to him. What was the first thing he said to you?
Well, this is an interesting story. So I met him at the U.S. Open tennis tournament. Eric and I had been dating for a couple months, and in traditional Eric Trump fashion, he did not tell me I was going to meet his dad the day I met him. Very little information. Just, do you want to go to like this tennis thing with me? And I was like, yeah. Okay. I grew up in a very middle-class family, not to get Kamala Harris on anybody.
Grew up in a middle-class family.
My parents were small business owners. I won't go with all the whole.
Did you have
I did not. I worked at a car wash.
Yeah. Did you have a nice lawn?
People had nice lawns in my neighborhood. It's true. And they cared about those lawns. But when you say you're taking me to like a tennis tournament, I think, okay, we're sitting in like the bleachers, like whatever. So I come dressed for that. Then we roll up and we go into a separate parking area. And I notice we're not going to sit out in the bleachers. And I was like, oh, these are like the nice suites that we're going to. Okay. Already felt underdressed. And then the door opens. And then there's Donald Trump and Melania Trump. And I was like, oh my God. You could have told me that you were going to introduce me to your dad. And it's the stakes are always pretty high.
What is he wearing?
He's in a suit.
He's in a suit and he had you just come.
Yeah, and I'm like I have sandals on. I look whatever.
Eric's in a suit.
Suit.
Eric was. I'm trying to remember what Eric was wearing. I actually don't remember. Sorry, honey. But my father-in-law was in a suit. You're always nervous when you meet your potential future in-laws. When the last name is Trump, it's a little bit more.
At this point, how long have you guys been together?
Like 2 months.
So he's fully committed to you. He's bringing you to meet.
Apparently.
Good for him.
He made me wait 6 years till we got married, but I digress. So we walk in, and of course, I'm like, oh my gosh. But maybe it was better I didn't know because I didn't have time to get nervous or think about it. And, he shook my hand, said, nice to meet you. And then we sat down to watch tennis, and I was kind of like, oh my God, like, what do I do? And he looked over at me, and he goes, I'm going to get an ice cream. Do you like ice cream? And I was like, yeah, I like ice cream. And he was like, all right, I'm going to get you an ice cream. I was like, oh my God, Donald Trump likes ice cream. Like, this could all be okay. That was sort of my intro. And that was the icebreaker. As I was like, all right, he's going to get me an ice cream. Like, we're all good now. But that was my first introduction.
And then when he came back, did you guys have a conversation? Is he talking to you?
Yeah, he asked me about where I was from and, where I'd gone to school and what I was doing, what I wanted to, why did I move to New York? All the common things. But he was honestly, the thing people will tell you about Donald Trump whenever you first meet him is he's very disarming. And he talks to you just like, you guys know because he came in here, but he's not, sometimes you find it hard to talk to people with the stature that he has. He's not like that at all. He makes you feel comfortable. He talks to you like a real person. And, I immediately was sort of at ease, talking with him.
How different is he off camera versus on camera? How different is he on stage, going at it, the enemy, calling him out, trolling versus he's on Air Force One or he's on, Trump, you guys are flying around, you're in Mar-a-Lago, you're with the family. How different is he?
I mean, honestly, what you see with Donald Trump is pretty much what you get. The only thing I'll say is he is one of the funniest people I have ever met. There's no one who's going to tell a story like Donald Trump and make you laugh. The things that he says and the stories he has are absolutely incredible. But I think that's what people love about him is, oftentimes the criticism of him is, we wish he'd be more presidential, more professional. This is Donald Trump, and that's why people love him, because what you see out there truly is what you get with him. And some people would say transparent to a fault, but I don't know. He just became president and won the popular vote. And he did it a second time.
One of the best decisions I ever made in my life was joining the U.S. Army. When I served the 101st Airborne Division Air Assault, the level of pride of America being the greatest country in the world went to the roof. If you are a veteran, or if you support veterans, you have family members, Veterans Day, we have brand spanking new gear for you to choose from, a whole plethora of options of what to choose from, with shirts that say we support armed veterans, I am an armed veteran, dog tags, shirts, hats, all of the different gears that we have. And for the first 250 people that place an order, you have the option of 12 to 15 brand spanking new mugs that we have. One says Angry Patriot, another one says BizDoc, another one has got the U.S. flag, another one has PBD Podcast or Valuetainment or A Future Looks Bright. Go to vtmerch.com, place your order for Veterans Day. These things are going to go very quickly, and you'll get a custom mug that'll be sent your way. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.